This is a SnapEd New York video presentation.
Hello everyone, my name is Wendy Beckman and I'm a registered dietitian with the New York State Office for the Aging and SnapEd New York. Thanks for joining me today on What's Cooking with NYSOFA. Today I'm going to be making Italian stuffed peppers. We'll be posting the link to the recipe below, and the recipe can also be found on the SnapEd New York website at www.snapedny.org. Before we get into the recipe, let's look at My Plate. The My Plate graphic is a representation of what our plates should look like every time we sit down to eat. This recipe covers the fruits and vegetables section of My Plate. You want to vary your veggies by adding vegetables with different colors on your plate. Choosing different colored vegetables is a great way to get different vitamins and minerals every time you eat. This recipe also includes ground turkey, and that covers the protein section of My Plate. I will be using lean ground turkey. You can vary your protein routine by including lots of different lean sources of protein, including lean poultry, beef, and pork, and also plant-based sources of protein like beans, legumes, nuts, and seeds. Ground turkey is an animal source of protein, so it's a complete protein. It includes all of the amino acids that your body needs. Remember that everything you eat and drink over time matters. You want to find your healthy eating style and maintain it for a lifetime. The right mix can help you be healthier now and in the future. So let's start making some Italian stuffed peppers. Remember to wash your hands with soap for at least 20 seconds or use an alcohol-based hand sanitizer before you start cooking. Let's look at the ingredients for this recipe. This recipe makes 6 servings, and you could easily cut the recipe in half to only make 3 servings. Each serving is half of a pepper with 230 calories, 9 grams of fat, 4 grams of fiber, and 17 grams of protein. So let's look at the ingredients here. This recipe calls for 3 large bell peppers, and I have an orange, a yellow, and a red one. Plus you need a half of a bell pepper chopped up, and I chose green. Here I have 8 ounces of mushrooms. I used fresh mushrooms, and they're all chopped up, but you could use canned if you wanted to. And you're going to need 1 small onion chopped, and that's right here. You can use 1 clove of garlic minced, or you can use garlic powder, which I have right here. Make sure that you choose garlic powder instead of garlic salt if you want to limit your sodium. You're going to need 3 ounces of low-fat or part-skim mozzarella cheese, and that I have right here. You're going to need 12 ounces of lean ground turkey. Right here I have that, and this is 93% lean with only 7% fat. You need 1 14-ounce can of diced tomatoes. I have that right here, and this is the no salt added variety. Here I also have a 1 8-ounce can of tomato sauce. This is also a no salt added variety. You're going to need a half of a cup of instant brown rice or minute rice, that's right here. A teaspoon of dried parsley or thyme, which I have right here. You need 1 teaspoon of dried oregano, which I have here. I'm not going to use any salt in the recipe, but I do have a 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper and a 1/4 teaspoon of crushed red pepper. You're also going to need a 1/4 cup of water, and you can use some non-stick cooking spray, but I'm going to not use that this time. Now, the first thing you need to do is preheat your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. And you're going to need to rinse your peppers and your mushrooms. I've already done that. Obviously, I already cleaned up the mushrooms because they're already chopped. Now you need to cut the whole peppers in half lengthwise and remove the seeds. And I'm going to show you how to do that. So you need to make a little bit, sort of like a boat out of your pepper, because you're going to put stuffing in the middle of it. So a lot of times when I cut up a pepper, I sort of chop the top off of it and then take out the insides. But what I'm going to do this time is I am going to cut around the stem, because I want to sort of leave some of the top on the pepper, so that when I put the ground meat mixture in there, it doesn't all fall out of the pepper. So I'm going to try and take the core out of here. There we go. We got to get rid of the seeds. And then I can cut it in half. And that will make it easier to sort of get these little white pieces out. Certainly they're not harmful. They don't taste bad or anything. It's just that It's a little more aesthetically pleasing. They look a little nicer if you take that little white part out and get the seeds out. So we're going to do that with this one. All right. And we can do that with this one too. A lot of times you can just take it out with your hands. You don't have to get all fancy with the knife there, I guess. And I like to make sure that I tap on my peppers, get all of those seeds out of there. Okay, so there's 2 of those. And let's do another one. Let's do the orange pepper. I'm going to put the red one behind me here. So let's do the same thing. We're going to cut around the stem part. Don't chop the whole top off. That's what I usually do. I'm not going to do that this time, because these peppers have a job to do, and they got to hold on to that stuffing mixture. So we're going to take that out, and then I'm going to just remove all this white stuff here. Just take it out with my fingers and get the seeds out. There's a lot of seeds in that one. And they do say you can save the seeds from your peppers, and you actually can grow them, you know, in your kitchen, especially if you have an area outside that gets a lot of sun, or if you have a very sunny window. You might be able to start them inside. I think they really need to live outside to get enough sun to give you some nice peppers in the summer months. But sometimes you can do that just with the seeds that you have from the peppers that you bought. You don't have to buy seeds. So let's see if I can get all the seeds out of that one. Okay, so there's a couple of peppers, and we will be putting the stuffing inside of these little pepper boats here. All right, but first we need to make the turkey mixture. So now we're going to cook the ground turkey, and you have to put it in a skillet over medium heat. This has already been heating up, and so hopefully we can get that going there. So one of the things you want to do is you want to sort of mash that turkey up and get it all spread out. You don't want to leave it sort of like a lump in the middle of the pan. You want to spread it out so that it really starts cooking. And I'm going to turn up the heat on this one. And we're going to let that cook just a little bit before we start adding some of the other ingredients. All right, hopefully we get that browning a little bit. So the next thing we're going to add is the onions. But first, let's talk a little bit about these mushrooms here. So mushrooms can be a really good source of vitamin D, especially if you have them out in the light. So they actually convert vitamin D just like humans do. Sort of, if we get exposed to sun, then we have some vitamin D conversion in our skin. And I guess that some of these mushrooms do the same thing. They also are a good source of B vitamins, so things like thiamine, niacin, B12, those types of vitamins. And they do add a little bit of fiber as well. So hopefully we're going to get some of this turkey going here. And next we're going to add some of the onions. So let's do that. All right. That looks pretty good. And that smells great. The turkey and the onions going together, those always smell really good. And then we can add some of these mushrooms as well. So like I said, the mushrooms really can be used to sort of stretch your meat budget a little bit. They have a texture to them that's similar to meat. So if you add them to things like meatloaf, sometimes you don't need to use as much ground beef or ground turkey that you're using in your chili or in your meatloaf or anything like that. So let's see. Next, we're going to be adding some of the chopped pepper. So we're going to put some of that in there. And we can also add the garlic powder now. All right, there, that's starting to go a little bit more. Let's mix some of that together. You can see that's really starting to fill that pan right up, and I'm starting to get some browning on that turkey. So that looks pretty good. All right, so let's add some of these other ingredients. So this is parsley. You can use either parsley or thyme, but I have dried parsley here. And then this is oregano, which of course is classic for an Italian dish. And then I have two kinds of peppers. I have black pepper and I have red pepper. I'm going to put both of those in. I'm going to mix those together a little bit more. And you can see how that's sort of coming together. It really smells really great. You know, if you have the onions in there and the peppers all together, it starts smelling really good, and you can start trying to think about how those peppers are going to come right together. So we have a couple more ingredients here, and one of them is the diced tomatoes. So I have those right here. I'm going to add those in. I'm going to add some moisture back to this mixture. I'm going to start adding that. Let's mix some of that together. And then I have some tomato sauce, 8 ounces of tomato sauce. I'm going to add that in as well. And those 2 items is what's going to help us to cook the minute rice. Okay, so let's try to get all of that incorporated together, because we want to make sure that that's mixed together pretty well before we add the rice. Now, I found that when I made some earlier, that the moisture from the tomatoes was not quite enough to get the rice cooking. So I did have to add some extra water. So here I'm going to add the minute rice. Okay, so, and this is instant rice. It's not regular rice. I'm going to add that in. And you can see we need a little bit more moisture in here. All right. So what you want to do is, this is going to cook for about 10 or 15 minutes until the rice is tender. But if you don't put enough moisture in here, that rice is never going to cook, and it's not going to be quite right. So what I'm going to do is, I have a little extra water back here. I'm going to add this in. And you may find that as you're mixing this and as it cooks over the 10 or 15 minutes, you might find that you need to keep adding a little bit more water. And that is completely okay. You can absolutely do that. So I'm going to let that go. All right. Smells great. But as you can imagine, you need that rice to cook. And the reason why you want to use the minute rice is because, like I said, it cooks faster than regular rice. So the way that minute rice or instant rice is made is, they actually, in the factory, they cook it. They cook it once, and then they dry it back out, and they put it in a box, and they sell it to you. So it's actually a processed food. There are certain levels of process. Some people say stay away from processed foods, but you know, a lot of things are processed. All those little baby carrots that you see in the grocery store, those are processed also, right? They've been cut and washed and cut down into a smaller size. Doesn't make them bad carrots. It just makes them a convenience food, right? And that's what this converted rice is. It's brown rice. It has lots of fiber in it, more vitamins and minerals than white rice has in it, but it cooks faster because it's already been cooked once. So it has been processed, but it's not, that's not a dirty word, right? Certain things, very highly processed, you know, those you want to limit in your diet. But certain things like this brown rice, it's a convenience, right? You don't have to wait 40 minutes to for it to cook. It only takes 10 minutes, all right? So we're going to just let that keep cooking, and you can cover it if you want to. But I actually have some mixture that I made earlier, and I'm going to use that. So here I have a dish that I'm going to put these peppers in. Let's see if we can get them all in here. Whoops. I'll lose that one. All right. So here are the peppers. And we're going to actually add about 1/4 cup of water to these peppers, because you're going to need that in the bottom of the pan. They'll actually steam a little bit when they're in the oven. And then you're going to spoon some of the mixture into your peppers here. So I have some, this is a mixture that I made earlier. And this has got the turkey and the rice and the peppers and the onions and everything in it. And I'm going to put some of this inside of these peppers. And this is a little bit of a challenge here, and to see how coordinated everybody is trying to get the mixture inside of the peppers. So we'll get this in here. There, now you can start see how they look like. There we go. And like I said, a half of a pepper is a serving. So you can make more of these pretty easily, or like I said, cut the recipe in half and only make, 3 servings or 2 servings, whatever you need. Okay, so those are in there. And then lastly, we're going to put some cheese on top. So here's some cheese for all of these peppers. All right. Okay, that looks pretty good. So I'm going to keep letting that cook. I'm going to put these in the oven. So let me go over here. And I'm going to show you some that I made earlier. So here are a couple of peppers that I made earlier. Cooked them already. And I like the way that the red ones came out. They're really nice and colorful and they look beautiful. So I hope that this recipe gave you some more ideas on how to incorporate more vegetables and lean protein into your eating pattern. Don't forget to join me next month when I share more tips on how to save time, save money, and eat healthy. In May, I'm going to be making herb stuffed mushrooms, which are great hors d'oeuvres. Join me on Friday, May 26th at 12:30 p.m. right here on the New York State Office for the Aging Facebook page and the New York State Office for the Aging YouTube channel. This presentation was funded by the U.S. Department of Agriculture, and this institution is an equal opportunity provider. Have a great day and stay safe out there.
Thank you for joining us today. We know the healthy choice isn't always the easiest choice, but small changes can make a big difference. Start today by getting involved with SNAP Ed New York. This program is free for those who qualify or receive SNAP benefits. We want to help you save time, save money, and eat healthy. Learn how SNAP Ed can make a difference in your life. For more information and to find your local program, visit snapedny.org. This material is funded by USDA's Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. SNAP. This institution is an equal opportunity provider.
Hi, I'm registered dietitian Wendy Beckman, host of What's Cooking with NYSOFA. Over the past 2 years, I've had the opportunity to share healthy, nutritious recipes with you on the show. I work for the New York State Office for the Aging, and thanks to a partnership with SNAP Ed New York, our nutrition team reaches hundreds of thousands of older New Yorkers each year. So why a cooking program? 60% of health costs and related issues have nothing to do with health, but instead have to do with individual behaviors like our food choices and physical activity. The recipes we feature are nutritionally appropriate for older adults, meeting critical nutrition requirements for healthy aging. What I bet you don't know is that this show is only part of a larger effort. To help me explain what our nutrition team at the New York State Office for the Aging does and what a registered dietitian is, here is registered dietitian Lisbeth Irish.
A registered dietitian is a professional who has training and education in food and nutrition. To become an RD, you must complete certain requirements, including a minimum of a bachelor's degree from an institution that's accredited by the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. You must also pass a national examination and meet continuing education requirements. What does that mean? As RDs, we are qualified to offer accurate advice about nutrition, and we can help answer your questions about how diet can affect your health. At NYSOFA, the registered dietitians handle many tasks. This includes hosting 2 online programs aimed at helping older New Yorkers make better nutrition choices. These programs are What's Cooking with NYSOFA, which is our monthly cooking demonstration, and a Facebook Live program that I host called Ask the Experts, Nutrition Edition. In the months ahead, be on your lookout for it. We'll be sharing your questions and our experts' answers about nutrition and health. New episodes of Ask the Experts Nutrition Edition debut the second Friday of each month on Facebook and YouTube.
As Lisbeth explained, registered dietitians at NYSOFA handle many tasks, including food safety at congregate meal sites, educational materials, and outreach. In the meantime, please don't miss an episode of either show produced by our team, What's Cooking with NYSOFA and Ask the Experts Nutrition Edition. Every episode is uploaded to YouTube, and you'll find the archived shows there.
Do you have a question about foods? Or do you have a particular health issue that you'd like to improve by changing your diet? Tune in to Ask the Experts Nutrition Edition every second Friday at 1 p.m. We'd love to hear from you.
Remember, registered dietitians are the experts in nutrition. Visit for more sound advice about eating healthy on a budget.